All right. Well, I feel a lot more encouraged after sister called me up, and sometimes uh, when you're doing the work of the Lord, it's especially when you're not married, you can easily get discouraged. And I was really encouraged today that this one lady, sister in the Lord, she's getting the word out about the coming earthquake and the New Madrid fault, and now I feel it too. I've been feeling the earthquakes here on the west coast, and it's not if anymore, people. It's coming, and if you people that that's hearing what I'm saying, you better listen to the Lord, and you better start preparing. You need to start networking together because it could be weeks or not long. I know after the end of next month, after the end of January, you're going to see the hammer come down. The hammer's going to come down hard, and you're going to be thrown right off your feet. And if you don't do what you can to network together and to pray together and ask the Lord, for His specific direction to know what to put aside and know where to come together in a time of emergency, and to start thinking about moving out of the danger zone. God has a plan. The Father has a plan for building safe places for His people. But I tell you, 99.9% of believers they don't hear, they don't want to hear the truth. And but the Lord began to show me His end time plans in 1988, and he just he's just showing me now, just to maybe just do to share. I was in Texas. I was sitting under David Terrell's ministry, and just before that, the sister asked me if I would help her to build a house, right? And she was a songwriter to the soldier boys in Vietnam. Hazel Holmes is her name. Many of you that fought in the Vietnam War, you recognize that name. But anyway, she asked me to build a house for her, and the Lord put it in my heart, to help her. And after this it took about a year and a half. I had to come back several times to Banks, Texas, to complete the work, and I remember I just finished putting up the drywall, doing the taping and painting, and I didn't, the Lord started moving in me about designing places of refuge. And this was, I was encouraged by the man of God because he was talking about the blessed areas that God would raise up in the end days to be safe areas for his people during the time of the Antichrist. And so I started drawing, and I didn't have any paperwork, so I started drawing on the living room wall, about as big as the wall back here. I needed something about 8 feet by 8 foot, and I think I spent a good half the summer, uh, you know, drawing the first initial concept. It was actually a star pattern, like a star within a star. It covered 3,456 acres from the center of the hex to the outside. I think it's around 5,009 feet. So it was a large chunk of land. I think around maybe 3 square miles, something like that. It was a lot of acreage. Or 3,400 acres, 640 acres into 3,400. That's how big it was. Maybe 5 square miles. But anyway, I spent all summer on this, and it was just about complete. And I didn't have a name for it. And but at the time, I was writing poetry. I was keeping a journal, and I wrote poetry for about 10 years, mostly prophetic poetry. And the Lord I knew I had the first two names. I knew that the first two letters of this acronym stood for uh, diversified approach, D and A. I didn't know what the name was going to be. And so I asked the Lord, says, what's the rest of the acronym? And he spoke to me and said, grab that dictionary over there and you'll find it. So within about 10 minutes, the Lord gave me the name. The name was David. The Lord calls it Project David, and it stands for a diversified approach to visualizing, understanding isometric dwellings. It's a new concept. It's a heavenly concept, and I've been working on these geometric blueprints since 1988. And I've just finished making the actual building model that's going to go together to build the uh, individual micro dwellings, micro camps, and macro camps, right? So the larger camp model takes up under an acre, and it'll be able to handle between 48 to 72 people. And it's a fully portable camp. And the Lord's put it in my heart. He's mandated me that you have a small window of time to finish this camp model. I have toward the ends of February, to finish it and to do the documentation, to put the hard copy together and to professionally have the videos professionally edited. And I don't have a dollar to my name, so I'm just trusting that the Lord is going to bring the money. And sometimes you have to ask. Sometimes you have to ask and have the people pass the hat. And but God does have a plan to preserve His people. Most of His people is going to end up in the concentration camps and in the FEMA camps because they're not paying attention. They're going to be caught in the snare of destruction. They're going to become trapped in the cities, and they're going to. It's not going to be nice. What's happening in Europe is already beginning to take place in the streets of America, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. ISIS is taking over. And God has a plan to preserve His people, to preserve the righteous, not the unrighteous, to preserve the righteous. And this is where the transfer of wealth is to go. It's not to go to making big churches. It's going to preserve a people of faith. And that's the bottom line. And to train and raise up a new generation of warriors, because they're going to need a place to stay. You're not going to be staying in your homes. Martial law is coming. What are you going to do? You're going to be trapped, become a prisoner in your own house. And when they come for the guns, they're not coming to take the guns. They're coming to kill you. They're going to come. They're going to blow you away. So that's why we need places of refuge, and that we need that you need to do everything that you can possible to support my hands. This is not my work, and the Lord's, He's been giving me this mandate since 1988, and it's time. But I'd just like to encourage you that God does have a plan to preserve His people in this end days, to preserve a people of faith. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you from here in Vancouver Island.